Tonight, Easton, please welcome our professional women to their starting positions. Put those hands together and ring those cowbells as the best of the best.
Are we live yet, or
positions?
when are we going on?
We're streaming, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Move the umbrella down, so it's... Nah, we're good. We
can move it if you like. You need to get going with the intro, or?
You're good? You're streaming? You're flying?
Crazy.
Awesome. Let me go get it on the screen.
Good? Hey everybody, this is Corinne Lebecki. We're reporting here live at the Easton Criterium, and we have all the professional women lined up on the start line in the grid start, and we're about to start our first pro race of the day. It looks like we have Ariel Verharn in the first grid spot. She placed third last year. First place, ironically, was myself, and then second place was Skylar Schneider. So we are both not taking part in the race today, but I am happy to be here commentating for you all. And then the rest of the grid goes back as it forms a bit of an arrow. We are looking at a field of about 50 women today, and it's set to be a really fun race. I love this race course, really dynamic. The first couple corners is a fun chicane as it goes into left-right through the restaurants, as it starts to descend down towards the river, and then a sharp left along the river, and then it kind of slowly curves along that second to last straight into the final corner. And the final straight is slightly uphill with a bit of a pause in the middle, and then yeah, nice clean shot to the finish line.
We will announce it and put them on the lap cards. You will have 3 laps until 5 laps to go. 3 laps must be taken in the pit, which is located on your left-hand side 100 meters before the finish line. It must be approved by an official, and again, that's until 5 laps to go. The pit is also where we're pulling riders who are out of contention. So if you're out of contention, there's an official down there, blow the whistle, and you exit to the left, through the pit area, and keep the course clear. Do not go past the start-finish line if you have been pulled. Any questions?
Ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be a bike race in America without a song before we go. So I would like you to please rise and remove your hats, direct your attention to the American flag. It's my man Herman Harris who's going to sing God Bless America for us here before we start our bike race. Herman Harris, ladies and gentlemen.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
Ladies, are we ready? Easton, are we ready? We're going on the whistle. Let's go, Easton, ring those bells, ring those bells, ring those bells. Make some noise, bang your hands on those boards. Listen to our pro women with some sound. Anytime in the next 20 seconds.
aggressive start to the race here. As you can see, the grid lineup really does help. The difference between the first rider from the start line to the last rider off the back looks like a good 15 seconds. So if you're not lined up in the front, I think it might take a little while and a bit of a struggle and an effort to get back into position. This course is really dynamic, a lot of elevation, a lot of corners. Anything can happen. Last year it was a breakaway that played off of a preem that went away and stayed out for the finish. So we'll see how this race plays out and how many preems we've got going on to really animate the race. There's some strong teams out here represented in Automatic Abyss, Team 2028, and here comes the race down the home straight for the first lap.
Our merchandise tent up in the circle to get you hooked up with some Lehigh Valley Health Network sponsored downloads, but it's all about bringing a whole lot of noise here to the fifth running of the Easton Criterium presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. Lap number 1 officially wrapping up right now.
Bring on Automatic Abyss now seconds and tempo. She's got more Olympians, which will really fun as well. Across the board, we've got Olympians from 4 different countries racing with us here today. It's an honor to have them, including 2-time world champions Meg Barker and
Lap 1 is underway, and it looks like we've already have a few riders off the back. As you can tell, this course is not easy, not to just sit in. Definitely takes a lot of effort. Also, with the weather-wise, you can see it's a little bit of a cross headwind on the home straight. But then you have Automatic Abyss kind of controlling on the front of the race. In this first lap, it's just getting started. You can see the field is strong and should be making up for a fun race today.
They started off with a big bang. Brownie Botha, fresh off an Olympic silver medal last year in Paris.
The wind seems pretty strong. I will say a bit more of a headwind sometimes, and it kind of bounces off some of the buildings on the home straight. They probably feel it a little bit more of a crosswind along the river before this final straight, but it might make the home straight feel a lot harder than it already is with the incline.
Former state champion Kim Stovall from the Philadelphia area, but they've got Ivani Blondine, the speed skater, Olympic medalist from Canada. They've also got
here comes a pace car for lap 2.
The BMX World Cup winners. They figured out how to coordinate all those different skills to a winning combination.
Stovall on the front there right now, right behind, and of course, our Timbers riders there already seeing some fatigue in the legs for some of the riders. The back is representing how full gas and single file is great.
It seems to be Automatic Abyss on the front here, controlling once again on the second lap. With their team makeup, I think they're looking to have a little bit more of an aggressive race. They do have Ariel Verharn, who got 3rd last year. So they do have a strong sprinter here to represent them. But if you look at the rest of the start list, there's also Marlies from Team 2028, who would have a pretty strong sprint for a finish like today. So I imagine that Automatic Abyss would want to have a pretty aggressive race, and I think they also have the team makeup to do that. You have Kimberly Stovall, who won Downers Ave last year at Toad. I think she's also one to watch, and who was at the front of the field here coming by on the home straight. Really strong team. They always love to race. Super dynamic. They don't just sit around. Really a fan of the Automatic Abyss team and the way that they race. Here comes the field around the last corner, coming in for lap 3.
Every different age group, so again, great to have her with us down a little bit of broadcast. Right now, on Northampton Street, it's Kim Stovall, again, laying down the lawn. We've got the Fearless 10 riders on the front as well, and that, of course, is Brownie Botha, the rider from New Zealand. It says right from New Jersey on our start sheet, but that's nearly the whole base for her team. A Rubicon Santa Cone from the Pure Energy Bike Shop, year in, year out. He puts together a top-level, internationally talented team, and this year, well, it may be one of his best teams yet. A small roster with very deep in talent.
Look at the bio. So the way we do our start sheet, the way we do registration here, any day of registration, no matter who they are or what their past records are, just who they are, they're riding national champions. Today we are joined by 2028 former New Zealand national champion Riley McMullen is here. Sophia Arola is here, and Marlea Mejia is here as well.
Yeah, I saw those runners down doing the kids races. I was trying to get the start list. I was pushing through and I was like, was this a typo? Did they just show up? Amazing that they showed up the day of, and to your point, at the back of the grid added.
So the race seems to be all together. There hasn't been any preems to really light this race up. So I think they're just putting some feelers out. Here we are with the field coming back around, pace car. Field's somewhat all together, but there's definitely a little bit of pace injected into the group.
So let's see how we go here. We got ourselves the field all together still. And there we go. 2028 put themselves right at the front already. Marlena's off in the front.
Field is looking calm, cool, collective. Nothing crazy going on yet, so really just saving the bullets. Maybe waiting for a preem or a good opportunity to really pounce off of. You can see that in the first few laps, Automatic Abus have been in control. Maybe trying to make a harder race since they do have a strong sprinter, but maybe not the top sprinter, and their better bet to win the race today is from Break. And like I've said before already, this course does lend to a breakaway. So sometimes you just have to bide your time. It's a long race with plenty of teams. So they're just waiting for the right moment to pounce. And sometimes that's all you need. And a little bit of hesitation as well from the peloton is the kind of scenario that you need for a breakaway to roll off on a course like today.
We'll start with our friends from Olympus, who have given us a whole big pile of cash to give away. So hey ladies, we are going to get this thing kicked off with a cream. Cream on the next lap from Olympus, $50. 5-0, $50 cream to the winner of the lap from our friends down in Olympus. Engage your bucket testing, man. What do you do about that?
I'm going to fill it with some cash from you guys.
No, not for me. Not for me.
Definitely not for Bill, but what I am going to do is I'm going to...
You heard it there, $50 preem on the line now. Let's see if that's enough to get this race fired up. You can see Team 2028 on the front, keeping an eye out, just controlling, not really pushing the pace, but making sure that they're in control, and if they need to jump on anything, they're able to from the front. Obviously, they have a strong sprinter in the race with some strong teammates as well to support her. And let's see what happens when we come around for this preem. Who's going to put their nose out into the wind, get the $50, and if there's a play off of that preem.
These guys are really getting in on the action. Here we go, getting it started. Thank you guys very much. Ooh, there we go.
There we go. Jane Dawes wins some money. Who needs to pay college tuition? Not that guy. All right, our pace car, our brown out Hyundai Ioniq 5 on the home straight. It looks like automatic. What the line in their pockets. That is going to be one of the speedsters from that team and taking home $50 cold hard cash. Yvonne Blondin lining the coffers for Team Automatic. A great sprint to the line. As you may expect, those screens have a couple of
Really strong sprint there from Ivani Blondin from Automatic Abyss, as you saw. Has a bit of a speed skating background. Obviously a really strong rider and sprinter, taking home $50 extra. And looks like Automatic Abyss has themselves in a really good position. I saw 3 riders there in the top 10, placing themselves well. And let's see if they'll play a good counter off of this. It seems like the other strong teams in the race are maybe not in the best position. So we'll see as they come back around. There's a lot of technical sections of this race past this home straight, where there's a chicane through Center Square. As you turn left through the restaurants, there's a little quick left-right with some uneven pavement that will play to more technical riders as it descends down towards the river. So a lot of opportunity there for a breakaway, and that's how the move went last year in the past. And so let's see if $50 was enough to really get the race going and split up for a breakaway.
Just a little bit.
It's a quick course. As you can see, pace car is already back around for our next lap. We're about 10 minutes into the race.
I think you can do better work. So our field's still all together, but automatic. Getting back to the drawing board here, continuing to get this thing in single file right now. 2028 there, quick to the off the reel there, keeping sewing it back together. It's a rather long throw in his race tonight, so the expectation may be that some of these teams are going to play their cards a little conservatively in the early part of the race.
As you can see, it looks like the race is actually still all together after that little preem. Just a little sting in the legs, I'd say, for the entire field. It's still quite early in the race, and sometimes you need to build that fatigue over a bit of time and over a few different preems as the race gets harder and harder. I think what doesn't maybe play to a breakaway is that headwind on the home straight. It might be a little bit too strong, but I think as the race gets harder and the legs start to sting for these riders, it might break. So you never know.
Hi, Corinne.
Hey Gabe, what's going on?
Oh, I'm doing really well. We're enjoying ourselves.
How much money do we have in the bucket?
Well, green bucket so far, we got like $300 so far. So
solid.
We're doing it.
And then once we hit 10,000, then we'll call the bell.
Then
right?
we're out of here. Yeah. Thanks for watching. This is Corinne Lebecki.
It's Gabe Lloyd, our race director and announcer for Easton Criterium. Here comes a pace car for yet another lap. Looking like the field is all together. You see a lot of Automatic Abyss on the front. Almost every single lap they've been on the front, so it seems to be clear that they want an aggressive, faster pace race.
All the way up here to showcase their new founded jersey. So again, this is the go-to race on the calendar. We post that right now on the front of the screen. That is Chelsea Stewart out of New York. We saw Chelsea in action yesterday at the New Jersey State Criterium Championship for a playing field. Putting on a great show with Chelsea maybe a little bit outnumbered out there, so maybe being a
You can see the race is starting to wear on some riders. We got a few riders off the back here, and but a lot of the big teams you can see are just biding their time. Sometimes you need a little bit of time for the race to settle in, a few preems to warm up the legs and test how the other teams are riding. So. I think we're looking to have a continuous aggressive race from Automatic Abyss, but just having to bide their time and waiting for the right moment to pounce. In moments like these in racing, it's great to remember to fuel, even though it's only an hour-long race. That's something that I had always focused on as a rider, is when nothing's going on and you're just kind of reading the race and seeing what other people are doing. It's a good time to take in some fuel. As the race gets more intense, you kind of forget to do things like that. So these are perfect moments to check in and take some fuel and also hydration. Looks like we have a bit of action at the front of the field here as a pace car comes through. And with no surprise, it's Automatic Abyss putting a bit of speed into the group.
There's a lot of people who are hard to the air. Disposable money all over. we've got a little Easton.
Got the field strung out in one line here. Automatic Avis is really trying to put some speed into this race and wear the legs out and wait for the right moment to go. Some riders off the back here really struggling with the uphill and the course and the wind. It's a really fun course. I really enjoy this course a lot. I think it's fun to watch as well. The great crowds here at Easton. Always has the barriers lined up on the home straight, and a great spot along the river and here through downtown Easton. Already have some riders getting pulled. It's a pretty aggressive race. Also, the lap is quite short, so if you're getting dropped and you're not coming back, time to get pulled. And this lap is quite quick. As you can see, the front of the race is already back around the last corner.
Oh, we got even more over here, so just hold your heart. I will be right back. Who's got a bell? We're ringing bells. All right. Preem on the next lap. Preem on the next lap.
$100 Preem coming up on the next lap. The race is lined out with, of course, Kim from Automatic Avis taking the front of the field. Field size has really gotten smaller, as you can see. Speed of the race has dropped some riders, and it's becoming a somewhat elite field at the front of the race. Let's see if $100 is enough to break the field. Apparently 50 wasn't quite enough, but Gabe is working on the crowd frame, running around with a bucket to fill with cash, so hopefully we can get enough cash from the crowd to get a very encouraging crowd preem going for the field here today.
Yeah, Cole, we're going to be back out on the men's race. At a time. So you're a little shy on that first one. Don't worry, there'll be an opportunity for you to hold up. And if any of you have any questions about what's going on and we aren't answering them, feel free to go ask Corinne over at the VIP area. So you'll be able to answer any initial answer to the live stream as well. If Corinne will get you over in the VIP area right now, if you have any questions about the bike race, feel free to ask her about that. We got ourselves coming up $100 cash from the crowd. $100 cash from the crowd. Big kid here from KRTQ. I think it's going to be Gina, I believe. Oh, big kid. I think it was Ricardo. Who was it going to camera on that one?
Strong push to the line for our $100 Preem from an Australian rider. And as you can see, Automatic Avis continuing past that effort, hopefully getting up the front for a breakaway as it seems.
Hey Gabe, so when we start talking about dreams and trying to get some money and handing out your cold hard cash, you know who's going to come knocking. Mr. Nick Kendall from Kendall Power. We just made a quick visit to the stage, and we now have an additional $1,000 to split between the men and the women. So $500 for each field that we can allocate into some free. So big event for our friends, Nick Kendall and Kendall Power. We've got some great free money that we are going to allocate and add to the queue here.
Sounds like the announcers are saying that they're adding an additional $1,000 Preem, which is going to be split between the men's and the women's race. So making some action here, throwing out some money and getting the race going and the crowd getting wild for it. We have the race coming up here on the home straight. Speed is still high, but now we have Team 2028 more towards the front. Actually looks like they're controlling the race a little bit more. And 3 Automatic Avis riders a little bit towards the back, so maybe taking a bit of a breather there after putting in some effort for those Preems. Preems is something that I love about crit racing. I think it's a great opportunity to warm up the legs and see how you're really feeling for the day. If you wait the whole time to use your sprint in the very last moment of the race, you don't really have that benchmark to see how the legs are going. So going for a preem gives you a good chance to, one, test the legs and also make a little bit of extra money and get the crowd going. So I love putting on a good show in a criterium, and I think that's the fun about this type of racing. And it's a great opportunity to test the legs and make a little bit of money. I think this criterium does a really great job at getting some preems going and some crowd preems going as well, and putting a bit of action into the race. And we'll see if we can have a strong group going off the front here and put a good narrative into this race. Here comes a pace car on the last corner. Field looking like they're all together.
Things starting to get hot once again. Automatic desperately trying to keep control over the front of the field. That is the workhorse, Emma Padul, out of New York City. Emma, a top-level domestique for that team. Got some big wins under her belt as well. Last year, she took top honors in the Wilmington Grand Prix. This year, she got a great run.
Automatic Abe is still on the front trying to make this race hard. As you can see, the kind of favorite sprinter team today, Team 2028, just controlling, keeping everything under control, and not letting a break go off the front without them in it, since they have probably one of the stronger sprinters in the field. So you can kind of see the cards of what these teams are playing, which is funny because you can play a lot of different cards, but you obviously want to play your strongest. I think Marlies can ride a break if she would like. She can still win a sprint from a break, but also she has two teammates with her, so maybe she wants to keep it all together. Her team can just control the race passively, being passive-aggressive, covering and killing these moves, but they'll still be strong enough to do a lead-out for their sprinter Marlies. So time will really tell as this race goes on. We're only about 20 minutes into the race. Just getting into it. Still anything can happen. And but it is quite clear also the cards to play from Automatic Avis wanting to have an aggressive race and maybe get a break off the front, just because this course lends quite well to a breakaway.
Nice tempo setting here by Automatic Avis with Emma Brazil.
Automatic Avis still on the front, pushing the pace. I do think they have the the biggest represented team here with the most riders in it, so you obviously want to use all the teammates the best as you can. And so if you have the numbers there in the field, you should use them. You know, otherwise you're just sitting there being pack fill. So I think it's great for them to be in the front of the race, trying to keep the pace going and get everyone's legs hurting. And then we can also talk about some of the individuals in the race, like Colleen Gulick, who local, doesn't have a teammate, but really strong sprinter, knows this course quite well. And at that point, you also need to bide your time. You got to read the race. You're also gambling a lot because you maybe only have one or two cards to play, and it's up to you to decide how you want to play that when you're a solo rider. For one, it gives you a lot of freedom to choose how you want to play the race, and also gives you a lot of flexibility as well to see how you want to play the race. Is the race really looking to be more like a breakaway type of course or situation? You can still play that as a solo rider, or you sit in, you save the legs, you be smart, you hang around the other strong sprinters, and and then you find your time to get in position in the final laps of the race for the final sprint. So still a lot can happen. We're still in the first third of the race, and it is all together still. Everyone just kind of looking around a little bit, taking a little bit of a breather. A lot of racing is about patience, so if it looks a little bit boring on TV, it's just about biding your time. When is the right moment to try and get a breakaway going? When is the right moment to put your cards on the table and really start racing? You know, you kind of want a race to draw out, get the legs a bit tired on your opponents, and then find the moment that is almost somewhat surprising. I think that's an element a lot of people forget about while racing, is the element of surprise. If you attack when everyone can see you attacking, it doesn't hit quite right. You know, everyone can see you. It's not something that stands out and will make a difference because everyone is just watching you do it. And also, sometimes you want to keep your cards a little bit close to yourself when it comes to race tactics and strategy. If you show it from the start, everyone's going to know what you're going to do. So, for example, Automatic Abyss, always trying to put some moves in, always in the front trying to push the pace, trying to go for preems, trying to go for breakaways. You know, if you're someone like Team 2028, you just have to mark them. It's easy as that. You know that they're going to try to be aggressive. As long as you can cover that and follow them, you're always represented in the front of the race. Looks like we have the race lined out. There has been an injection of speed once again from Automatic Abyss, really wanting an aggressive, hard race today. You see two of them up there in the top 5, top 10. Maybe they'll play off of each other or even have two in the break, which could play to their strengths, obviously. And so if we get this break going, for example, and you have two Automatic Abyss in the breakaway, not only can they really commit to this break because they have numbers in it, even if there is a workhorse from Team 2028 sitting on, they still have two other riders who can continue to work, get the time gap going. And in essence, Team 2028 would say, okay, we have a rider in there, we're not going to worry about that, but their strongest sprinter is still in the back of the field. So is it worth it for them to have a rider sit on, not working, and being represented in the break? And then maybe at some point later in the race, if the break is still off the front, they'll want to send a rider back to help chase it back since their strongest sprinter is still in the field and not in that breakaway. So we'll see how it comes around this lap. If they have separated from the peloton, we have the pace car coming through. Looking like the field is in one line, which indicates that there is some speed. It is getting hard, but it is still all together. And I can see Marlies from Team 2028 just hanging pretty in the back. She's quite confident with how this race is playing out, even with Automatic Abyss trying to attack and put some speed into this race. It seems like she feels quite comfortable with how her team is handling the front of the race. And she can just sit back there, sit pretty, save the legs, save the energy, and just stay safe. So for her, it seems to be that her race will be waiting for the final sprint or maybe a very late breakaway. So we now have, it looks like 27 minutes into the race. And so I think Marlies is maybe just biding her time, waiting to get to the halfway point of the race to decide how she wants to play this. But obviously she has a lot of confidence in her teammates taking care of the front of the race, where she can just take care of herself, stay safe, top off on nutrition and hydration, and just stay safe for the rest of the race until the final sprint. So here we are for another lap. Looking like the field is all together.
Hey, are we going to ring the bell for another breed right now, Dave?
We're going to do a $75 LVHN premium. So 70 premium on the next lap, premium on the next lap, $75 LVHN premium, $75 LVHN premium, $75 premium.
All right, looks like we've put $75 on the line for the next lap. Let's see if it's enough to get this race going, get a move off the front. Will it motivate the riders to counter and play off of this cream lap?
All the way up to the circle, but you know they've got 27 or 26 to go. They've already been racing for 30 minutes with 25 feet a lap. It turns out to be, I'm not going to do that math right now because I've got a fourth grade math level that I don't really want to wow you with right now. But
I'm sure on the far side of the course, everyone's just trying to get into position. I think some of your solo riders are maybe looking to get an opportunity here at these preem sprints and get $75, getting themselves into position. Car has come around the last corner, so we should see the riders coming through the start-finish line quite soon here. Let's see who's going to take the $75. Big effort put in here. Rider from Techers. This team from the UK who is over racing some criteriums here in the US. Have made quite a name for themselves. I think are doing quite well, and I think also very cool that they have some women here racing in the US. Last year I know that the Techers men's team was here, and Alec had placed second in the men's race here at Easton Criterium. So really cool to see Josie Knight and the Techers team showing up here at Easton Criterium in the US. Also putting their nose out in the wind and getting $75 US, which I don't know what they're going to do, but maybe they'll have to go back and get that exchange for pounds, but maybe I'm sure they'll spend it for maybe some pizza and beers here after the race at Easton.
What is the criteria? Right? So like where does that skill set transfer over to what we're doing?
We'll say criteriums do happen in the UK. I've done them myself in the past. It is a little bit of a different vibe. Usually very different course layouts, and also how it's raced. So I'd say it always depends per course, but usually criteriums in the UK are a little bit more technical. The roads in Europe and in the UK are a lot more narrow, and sometimes you can have some cobbles or some bricks, depending on where the downtown venue is, and not kind of like this asphalt 2 lanes that we have that are quite typical here in the U.S. with really wide corners, not very technical, but with a lot of high speed. Looks like after that last preem, the speed has come out of the field a little bit, put everyone on the edge of their seats there to take $75, but it was a little too much for the field, and now they're going to settle down and bring the speed down. I think for a team looking to go off the front, sometimes the best time to attack and get a move off the front is when the field has slowed down. If you continue to attack when the speed is quite high, it's almost easier to cover moves. So I would say this is a perfect time when everyone thinks it's, oh, we're going to relax, we're going to take a drink, we're going to have a gel, we're halfway through the race, 34 minutes, take a little bit of a breather. Boom, that's a perfect chance to hit them with that element of surprise, hit them with an attack, and get yourselves off the front of the race here. So we'll see if anyone else is on that same mindset at this point in the race. Still anything can happen, but that's something that could be taken into account in a race at some point where the speed comes down and you're almost slowing down. It's even harder to get back up to speed to cover a breakaway, things like that. And so moments like these are sometimes nice to take advantage of. And we have the pace car coming through. Looks like the field is back into one line, so maybe they did hear me. Maybe there is someone there taking advantage of the field slowing down and now just hitting them with a heart attack. And of course, if It's the orange jerseys of Automatic Avis, trying to get some speed in there, trying to get everyone tired. Looks like they have two teammates towards the back of the field. Sometimes have to be a little bit mindful when attacking that your teammates are also still in position so that you're not putting them in the box at the back of the race. In the box meaning you're obviously, at your limit, and if your teammate is pushing the pace at the front of the race and you're hurting at the back, that obviously is not conducive to your team goal. So
the problem becomes when the pace really starts to pick
we'll see if this injection of pace is enough to try and get a separation in the field. It looks like there isn't a big difference in the level of the field. I think it seems it's always obviously all together, so that means there isn't a group of riders that are showing that they're really strong right now, or even wanting to use that power. So there's obviously still a lot of time in this race to show that, and maybe they're waiting for the right moment. And that's half the battle with racing, is just finding that moment. And you can either wait for it to happen or force it to happen. And so that really depends a lot on how the field is racing. Here comes a pace car. It's looking like the field is stretched out, but it is still all together. So they're getting 24 laps to go. Field's somewhat strung out. Automatic Avis on the front. Still trying to pull this race apart, trying to be aggressive, make everyone hurt. And you have to remember, when you're doing a job like that, you are hurting yourself, but you're also hurting other legs. So that's something that you always have to keep in mind and remember as a teammate that, yeah, sure, it hurts for you, but it also hurts for everybody else. So you're doing the job as a teammate, and then hopefully they have someone to kind of counter that move, since everyone is still just sitting on a wheel.
We want to lighten our pockets here, get rid of a little bit of this cash, and give it to all of our professionals.
Sounds like we may have a preem coming up from what I hear on the stage announcers.
If you like what you see with that brown knob Hyundai, visit the circle. We've got 3 different models of Hyundai up there in the circle.
Weather-wise, it looks like we have a little bit of cloud coverage now. Wind is still the same. It has cooled off a little bit, not too much sun. So I don't think weather is going to be a huge factor other than the wind. Last year we had some pretty strong rain for the men that had to stop the race. But I think here for the women, they're looking to have a clean one today. Here they come for their next lap. Sounds like they are ringing the bell for a preem. $100 preem, and as I speak, an attack from Kim on Automatic Avis, and as you can see, second wheel already is clearly from Team 2028. I imagine she's just going to cover and kill this move, which will open up opportunity for a preem for the field, for everyone who's still in the field. So we'll see what comes around for this lap for the riders.
There's got to be one strategy for a lot of these teams for them to be able to come out and get themselves into the green line, right? Now your team gets around the green line, keep going the final result of the race. So whereas other teams would go in the opposite way, focus only on the final result and forego greens. You have hybrid burgers, of course, but in this instance, Automatic potentially trying to get themselves in, but so far they've missed out. Alright, so the first one, we had QRT, second one we had Checkers. Can Automatics get themselves there?
Yeah, I think they're going to try and get in a few. It's a longer than normal women's race. Most of the time we'll race around an hour, 50 minutes to an hour for women. So an hour 15 tonight, these riders might be waiting until the second half. But right now, that looks like Kim Stovall on the attack. So Stovall going to put $100 intercotton courtesy of our friends at T-Ball.
Ron is getting after it. Our rider from New Zealand on 2028 is now hitting the forward ass button because she wants to make sure that she is not left behind. Scoville coming out and...
All right, it's looking like we've got some separation here. Maybe it's finally worked for Abus, for automatic Abus and Kimberly Stoveld. Taking home that extra $75 on that preem and separating herself from the field. So let's see if she can get a little company and a bit of time between herself and the peloton and put a little pressure on the sprinters in the field to see who will control the race from the field. You also haven't seen Ariel Verhaeren on the front of the field as much. I think she would be automatic Abus's sprinter for the day, for the team. And so you can see she's not really putting her nose in the wind, especially on the home straight where it's a headwind and slightly uphill. That's where you can save a lot more energy. And obviously you've seen Arlise more towards the back of the field, staying protected from the wind and just saving the legs, I think, for the final sprint. So that's something you haven't seen, is Ariel Verhaeren just really putting her nose out in the wind. Just not quite yet. Not the time for her to put any power out yet. Looks like we've got a strong counter here from Team 2028.
Jumping to the front right now is the first back tonight. Riley McCollin, a former champion of New Zealand, finally getting in on the action. She was one of the last riders into the grid, but it was patiently waiting for her opportunity.
A rider I saw on third wheel is Heather Fisher. She's another solo rider in the group, or in the field, I'm sorry. And she's also a really strong rider. She had won a race in Speed Week back in April in Greenville, in a fashion of being off the front in a breakaway that lapped the field, and then she was the first finisher of that breakaway to win the race. So I think she's someone to watch for on a course like today and a race like today. And you can see she was sitting in third wheel, just staying in good position, being ready for any opportunities, whether it be off the front or being ready later for the sprint. It is a more difficult sprint, which I think could play to her favor a little bit more. Slightly uphill and with a headwind. Not so much speed into the sprint, but it could play well for her. Let's see as the pace car comes around around the last corner here. Should see the field come by. I'm hearing a $200 crowd cream that's about to be rung. So the next time the riders come around, the first person to cross the line will win $200, which is thanks to all the crowd who are putting some cash into the bucket. Looks like the speed has come down in the group. Let's see if $200 is enough to get this group going and getting a break off the front. You can see there's 3 automatic Abus riders on the back of the field, 2 of them having a conversation. Great moment in the race to check in, see how the legs are doing, see what their best plan is if they need to adjust. Most teams come into races with a game plan, and 9 times out of 10, the game plan never works out the way that it is intended to at the start of the race. So it's important to check in with your teammates and see, do we need to adjust? Do we need to change something? Is everything going well? Are other teams looking like they're doing something different than you thought?
I have a question.
We have a question from Gabe.
So we have about $1,000 in preems to give out over the next 18 laps. So we're going to be doing it every 3 laps. How does that affect the race? Does that change anything? Do you think it'll break it apart? You can take it from there. Holy smokes, $1,100.
Speak of the devil, here's an extra 100.
I gotta go because I don't want to get run over, but I hope you can educate everybody. Well, actually, do you have a quick summary? Is it going to break this race apart?
I think if you put enough money on the line, it will.
Okay.
So
even with the field we're seeing here right now?
Never know.
You never know.
I mean, it would motivate me, but
yeah, I know. You're in a very
it seems like
aggressive so this is $200 right here. I'm going to disappear because I don't want to get run over. I'll be back.
I do hope the extra crowd preems will animate this race a lot. Here we have a strong sprint from Avani Blondin. Marlies Mejia is coming in second. It looks like this could be a really good moment. The fact that Marlies has now, for the first time in this race, put her nose into the wind, and there's more money to come, it could be the perfect time to get a break off the front.
So we got like, did you see Marleas this year?
Yep.
2028 showed up. They're a super aggressive program.
Yep.
I mean, do you think that they're going to be going for a break situation? Because what happened last year? How did you guys end up in a breakaway?
Well, we ended up in a breakaway because I played off of a preem, and then I just continued off of a preem. And I love an aggressive race. It's a perfect course for a breakaway.
That's what I think.
And so I just felt a few raindrops as well, and I think that's also another key thing to think about in a breakaway is when the rain comes, when weather is coming, your chances of doing well in a race is so much better in a breakaway than waiting for a final sprint.
Cool.
So maybe this weather and a few extra bucks will be enough to get a group off the front.
Let's snap it apart. All right, thank you, Corinne.
Yep. All right, here comes the pace car. Let's see if we have a separation in the group. It's looking like one off the front solo, and the group behind starting to break apart here. It could be enough, and if the field knew what I knew about all these upcoming preems, I would put the pedal to the metal. This is your chance. You can make the race hard, stay in the front, and make a little extra cash. So we have 17 laps to go. The race has strung out yet again.
Off the front of the field.
And I think we're going to slowly start putting some more pre-money into this race, as you've heard, and see a little more action. I think you saw there the lap before, Marlies was starting to put her nose into the wind. Maybe she felt these raindrops a little bit before we did. And so I think it's a perfect time to get yourself in a breakaway on a difficult technical course like this with some elevation. There is a bit of wind as well. It could play to your favor. I imagine that it is a little bit more of a crosswind along the river, so it makes it difficult if you're chasing, also if you're off the front as well, to make that separation. But sometimes all you need is that little hesitation, that someone who's just on the edge, who just can't quite close the gap, and they just let the gap go. So maybe that's a situation that they're looking for today, to get some separation into the field. And we have the pace car coming around here, and it looks like the field is all back together, but it is stretched out.
Courtesy of RMG Insurance.
We've got a preem lap coming up here. It sounds like $200.
$200 free, $200.
I think this is going to be our highest amount preem, so we'll see if that's enough to get this field going. Seems like everyone is kind of content to be riding all together and maybe waiting out for the final sprint, but unless you know you're going to podium, unless you're Marlies, unless you're Ariel Verhaeren, one of the stronger sprinters in this field, is it worth waiting for the final sprint? I don't know. I think it's worth maybe putting your nose in the wind, getting a preem, trying to break away with other riders to get ahead of the race. But if you don't have the fitness to do that, then you also just stay in the field. So it is a little bit of a balance. It depends on a lot of different factors on the race. But hopefully these $200 will get the race going.
There's either going to be a lot of women really happy with us or really mad at us by the end of this. Yeah, right? It's the same thing, man. The same exact thing.
You're going to be hearing a lot of bells every single time from you guys, from our sponsors, and everybody. We're going to keep this race moving. I was just talking to Corinne Becky. She was saying that a breakaway can be forced by the fans. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to force a breakaway from the green. We're going to We're on a 200 from RMG. Who's going to win $200 from RMG right now? $200 for the winner of this lap. $200. Who's going to get $200? Techers. Rutecki wants it. Juliana Rutecki gets $200. Bike Works presented by Fred Bean. Goes big. Your defending PA Sprint Crit Champ gets herself $200.
All right, you heard that our defending Pennsylvania Criterium champion, Juliana from Bikeworks here, just took the $200 preem, and let's see if that's enough to break the field apart. That's great for her to get her nose out, get a little extra money, get a little screen time. Strong rider, young, local. I think she has a good chance to do well today. I think what's great with these preem sprints as well is you kind of test the legs, see how the sprint's going. She obviously had to put a pretty good digger in there to get that $200. And there's still 14 laps to go, so she also has time to recover from this effort if it doesn't turn into a breakaway. And then she has a little bit of a benchmark to see how her sprint is. At the same time, her opponents will also see how her sprint is going as well. So I think obviously she's strong. She put in a pretty good dig for these $200. And then now the other top sprinters of the field know, okay, she's got a pretty good kick on her right now. Let's see if she can recover and do well at the end of the race. And it looks like we have a breakaway in this group. Looks like it's Kimberly Stoveld from Automatic Avis putting a big push into this group. The field is in one line. You can see there are a lot of riders suffering now. It's a perfect point in the race to really put some power down. We have 13 laps to go. A $200 preem has just been done. So everyone has been putting a big effort in today. So it's a great time to really whack them with a strong attack like that, especially from a rider like Kim. When you see her attack, she is not someone that you want to let go unless you want to go with her. Sounds like from the stage that they're going to put more money into this race. They're going to probably call another preem. We'll see if they'll give it to the breakaway or to the field. They'll come around pretty quickly here. Lap times are quite fast on this course.
You guys are awesome. Remember, we got a men's race coming up too, so we're struggling.
We've got a strung out field here. Automatic Abe is still putting the power down, still hoping that with enough power you will break the field apart. So hopefully it works in their favor here with about 13 laps to go. Making the race difficult. They do have a bigger team here. They still have more riders than any other team in the field at the moment. And for a rider like Kim, this is one of her. For a rider like Kim, you know, that's something that she's really strong out, is attacking, being off the front, leading out a teammate. Maybe your sprint isn't the strongest, so this is what she's good at. This is what she loves to do, and obviously you can see her really showing her strengths in this race.
Yeah, there's so much money being thrown. You guys are so cool. In a way, we're sort of capped out, so we appreciate it.
There should be more money getting thrown into this race. From what we've heard from Gabe, we got a little extra cash getting thrown in. Get this race animated. See some riders really going for the line here. And now,
This is sort of the moment. This is our middle,
here they come around the last corner.
third of our race. As we start to open it up now, we're seeing Automatic Avis. He is very aggressive here. with their tactics.
It's looking like we have a separation. Let's see. It's looking like it is all together. It looks like everyone is hurting, is suffering. There is not a rider or group rider that are looking like they're stronger than the rest of the field where they can make that separation. And we're at the point of the race, almost 10 laps to go, where you kind of want to think about your sprinter. If you're a team and you have a sprinter in the team and no break has gone off, or no good opportunity for a break has gone off, sometimes this is the moment in the race where you kind of switch your tactic a little bit. You want to focus on your sprinter, make sure they're safe, they're in good position, they're feeling ready to sprint. And for a team like Automatic Abyss, you check in with Ariel Verhardt. How's your sprint going? How are you feeling? And then you think about the other teams like 2028, who will also be looking for a sprint with Marlies. And then you also think about all the solo riders who also have a decent sprint, but they're having to gamble. They don't have to do the lead out. They don't have teammates to help them out. Then that's more about positioning. Where is Colleen Gulick going to position herself going into the last lap, last corner with all these other teams doing lead outs? What are they going to do to get themselves ready and in a good position going into the final straight? But it looks like we have one rider off the front here, and to no surprise, once again, Automatic Abyss putting in a good dig. Kimberly Stoveld, this is what she does. This is what she's good at. This is how she won Downers Ave, hitting a strong solo attack. And let's see if that's enough to break the race apart. I think Marlies has two other teammates here with her that will look to control the race. For it to be a field sprint for Marlies, that I think is her strongest card to play. So we'll see if Kim can really get enough time between her and give the other sprinter teams a really difficult time to close the gap. She's a very strong rider. You can see that she's a powerhouse when it comes to trying to get off the front like this. And so the thing with going with a strategy like that is it's kind of like chipping at a rock. You know, you just keep pounding and you keep pounding away and hoping for the right moment for it to break, and for the field to have a really hard time and get some separation in the field, and for that one person to hesitate and say, I can't close that gap. That's kind of the situation that she's looking to have to get some time between herself and the peloton. So we'll see. We're coming around here. 10 laps to go. It's looking like Kim is off the front, and they're throwing in a preem. $200 preem on the next lap. We have Kim off the front solo. Of course, it's going to be Team 2028 on the front, controlling the race. They want this race to come together. And so there's two things that's going to happen with this preem. It's going to motivate Kim. There's a reason for her to stay off the front, whether she gets caught after or not. If she crosses that line first, she's $200 richer. For the field, it's also motivating them to try and catch Kim, because if you can catch Kim before the finish line the next lap, that's a $200 for you. So what's more important to you right now with 10 laps to go in this race? Do you want that $200, or do you want to let Kim just stay off the front, let her dangle, let her kind of just burn her matches and just keep her in control? So we'll see where the motivation lies within this peloton, whether it's in Kim or the peloton. On another hand, yes, 2028 is going to want to just control this, but there are also other riders in the field who think this is their chance to make $200. I'm not going to win this race. I'm not going to outsprint the favorites like Marlies or Ariel Verhardt. So it's great for the field to catch, and then hopefully they can make those $200. I think the front of the race is coming around the corner now. Let's see who's going to take it home. All right, like I said, Team 2028, Riley and McMullen, they brought the break back, they brought Kim back, and she also took home those $200. So it's a double motivation for them to, one, get the break back from a very strong rider who, personally, I wouldn't let go if I was wanting to field sprint. And then two, they also made an extra $200. So having these injections of fields or preem sprints and cash gets the race animated, adds another dimension to this race on what they're riding for. And so it's not just waiting for the final sprint, but hey, you're also making a couple $100 extra. So we'll see after that effort if there's going to be a counter. So they obviously put in a lot of work to catch Kim, and so the group is thinning out. It does look like everyone's getting tired. So let's see what's going to happen off of that move. And I imagine that there is still some preems to come, so there is more money to get thrown out. We're in under 10 laps to go. So it's just going to make the field go faster and faster and get harder and harder. It looks like there's a gap. We have the pace car coming through, and there is a strong counter. Perfect execution of making use of a really difficult moment of the race. Our two strongest teams here today, Automatic Abyss and Team 2028, have put a rider each off the front of this race. So now, what are you going to do? You have another preem on the line. We're less than 10 laps to go. I do think 2028 will just sit on this break and try to kill it. And so what that means for the rider from Automatic Abyss is she's going to have to put the effort in to keep the brake off the front. And then it keeps the legs fresh for Team 2028. And so that means if they come around the last corner and there's still a gap between the field and the breakaway, it's a perfect chance for them to capitalize on the work that Automatic Abyss has put in and take that money home. It's not my favorite way of racing, but it still is racing. And obviously they have a stronger sprinter in the back in the field for Team 2028, so it doesn't really benefit them to ride the break. It looks like they still have a gap, and it still looks like Automatic Abyss is the one that's pushing the pace of this breakaway, with Team 2028 just sitting pretty on the wheel. And like I said, she's going to out-sprint her for the preem money. And it looks like they're looking to continue. Sophia Areola taking that cash for the team, and now it looks like Automatic Abyss controlling at the front of the field. It looks like they're happy with this breakaway. They are looking to give their teammate a chance, and they're protecting her from the field. So what you do when you have a teammate in the breakaway and you have a strong team in the field and you're happy with the situation, you can ride at the front of the field and try to slow the race down a little bit. So when you have a team like that, what can you do? You can still be a teammate in the back of the race, a little bit different than what you would see, but it is a great course for a breakaway. So obviously you can see that happening. The team believes in her. Automatic Abyss believes in their rider who's off the front right now. And so we'll see if they'll stick it. They're down to 6 laps to go. It can totally be made to the end of the race. And the laps come quick and fast here, so we'll see if they're still off the front. They did come around the corner with a gap, and it looks quite solid. I think it looks like they have gotten the separation and the hesitation needed to have a break. And I have to admit, I think this gap is huge, so let's see what's going to happen. All right, we rang the bell for a $200 preem. They are really throwing down the money now. It's a great time to be at the front of the race. They rang the bell for the front of the race as well. They can differentiate when you give the preem, whether it's for the breakaway or for the field. At this point of the race, this preem has been rung for the race, so the front. And so, will that motivate the break to continue to work together, or will it motivate the riders in the field to try and close it down, take a little extra money home, and reset the race? It would be more ideal to reset the race for a lot of these solo riders who are here without teammates. But then again, when do you put that power in? We're coming down to almost 5 laps to go. Do you want to put that power down to reset the race and have a chance to win? Or do you say, hey, you know what? We're good with these 2 riders off the front, and we're going to just try and race for third, be the best of the rest.
North Hampton Street, let me hear ya.
The gap has stayed. Let's see who's going to get these $200. Sophia Areola is just picking up these preems. She's riding smart. She's picking up some cash. And you can see in the back in the field, Josie Knight from Techers leading the front of the field. She has a strong rider, Meg Barker, in the field, who is a Team Pursuit world champion. And so that's another rider we haven't mentioned who would do well here in the final sprint. Obviously, you can see her teammate, Josie Knight, trying to bring the field back with the 2 main race favorites off the front already. And so now that puts pressure on other teams who are not represented in the race to try and bring that race back. It's a great opportunity for Team Automatic Avis and Team 2028 to just keep pushing the pace. There was obviously enough hesitation in the group to build themselves a huge gap, very comfortable, and they're going to come around to see 4 laps to go. They're in a great situation, and they're promised first or second. Granted, as long as they don't have any mechanical flat issue, I do believe free laps are over. So they're in a great position to do really well in this race and leave the last spot for the podium for the field. The gap is starting to get a little bit closed. Ooh, they just rang a $500 preem. Is it enough? Boy, if that was me in that break of 2 for $500, I would keep riding that. The gap has closed quite a bit. I'd say we're down to 7 seconds or so, where the lap before is about 10 to 15 seconds. So it has got brought back a little bit. But shoot, with a preem this big, I would just keep putting the power down. The field is going to come around to see 3 laps to go after this lap. So this is a really good moment for the field sprinters of the group to start setting up. We're going to think, where do I want to be position-wise? Let's see if we can have Techers bring this race back together, reset the race, and then you start thinking about, okay, how is this field sprint going to play out? Where do I want to be? Who's the strongest sprinter? And who's the best wheel that I want to be on? But for the moment, we still have that break of 2 off the front, so you can't quite put all your eggs into the basket for a field sprint until that break of 2 gets brought back.
Here comes our riders right now. Remember,
the break is still off the front.
Out there on the outside of the fencing. If you got bells, you're ringing them.
Looks like their gap is still just about the same, so someone from this 2-woman breakaway is going to take home extra $500. Sophia Areola taking home another preem. This will be her 3rd preem that she picks up from being off the front. Looks like we have Fearless Femme on the front of the peloton trying to pull it back. I think the breakaway is looking quite good to stay away for the end of the race. They're going to come around and see 2 laps to go. It's going to take a pretty big effort to bring back these 2 pretty strong riders. There was a little bit of separation between Sophia Areola and the automatic Abus rider who were off the front, so we'll see if Sophia will wait and ride with her for these last 2 laps, or she's saying, you know, I just keep dropping her, I can't be waiting for her. My chances to win off the front are going to be greater than waiting for her and potentially getting caught by the field. But Sophia Areola is in a luxury situation where she can technically win from 2 scenarios. Winning off the front because she's clearly still beating the automatic Abus rider for these preems, so chances are she will beat her for the final sprint. But if she does wait for her to work with her to stay in the break, and the break comes back, her teammate Marlies is an exceptional field sprinter, so they can still win from 2 scenarios. So what are they going to do? It looks like the 2 are still off the front, and they're throwing down yet another $500 preem. What a race. It's looking like they're really not putting down any power, though, from the 2-woman breakaway. And it looks like the pace in the peloton is quite controlled. Who's going to take the responsibility to try and bring this break of 2 back? It's hard to say. It's looking like Fearless Femme is still at the front of the race, trying to control. But the 2 off the front have a great opportunity to not only win the race, but also make another $500. But is this the point where they start bluffing? It looked like the speed has really come down from the breakaway. It looks like the rider from Automatic Abus has thought, you know, you keep beating me for these sprints, why should I pull through? So we're going to start playing a little cat and mouse now with 2 laps to go. It's totally a fair move to do, but also a huge gamble. So what does Automatic Abus want from this race? Do they want to win the race, or do they want to get second in this race, or they wanted to come back together and play a field sprint card? But also knowing that Marlies is in the back, they would also maybe get second in the field sprint. So which scenario would you prefer to get second in the breakaway or in the field? So let's see what's going to happen here for this $500 premium. Looks like Sophia Areola took home yet another $500 preem. There is still a huge gap between the breakaway and the field. Getting a little physical there in the peloton with Techers, and also it looked like Team 2028. Obviously they're trying to protect the breakaway with Team 2028, blocking the inside, making sure no one's passing, trying to protect the corners so that the speed doesn't go up in the peloton. They like the situation. 2028 is happy for Sophia to win this race. It's the final lap now. Anything can happen. In the front, we know that maybe Automatic Abus is bluffing a little bit. So this is it. We're going into the last lap. Whatever the rider's going to do going into the final lap.
For the top step of the podium, and we want you to help them get there.
As I said, it's a perfect course for a break, and eventually it did come through. The crowd preems definitely helped, all the money helped. Now let's see if the break sticks it to the finish line. Pace car has come through the final corner. It looks like the 2 riders are still off the front. Who's going to take it home? Who's going to put their arms in the air? It looks like Sophia Areola taking home the race. And for third, Fearless Femme taking home the last spot on the podium. What a great race for them.
two international superstars.
What a spectacular race. Perfect course for a breakaway. It eventually went away with the two strongest teams and Fearless Femme taking the third spot on the podium. Looks like we're going to do the podium right away. They're pulling out the blocks. What an awesome race. Perfect conditions for a breakaway. They did stick it out. They won a bunch of money doing it as well. And a perfect execution by Sophia Areola. I mean, she knew she was strongest, winning all those different preems while they were off the front. Automatic Avis got themselves on the podium blocks as well. And Fearless Femme taking home the Fearless Femme. Very impressive. As you can see, it took a little over halfway of the race to get this separation for the breakaway. So it took a little bit of time for the legs to wear out in the peloton and also for this break to get some time between themselves and the peloton. And lucky for them, they perfectly timed it with all of the preems, made a lot of extra money, got the crowd going, got the race going, and they stuck it out for the finish. I'm going to send it over to Gabe and the crew on the stage for the podium presentations. You good? Can you hear me? All right, welcome back to the Easton Criterium. You've seen the start of the men's race. Packed field. The grid start, beautiful. It's, I think, for the men, the grid start is a huge, huge advantage. We're looking at a full field here. They've been sold out for weeks. The difference from the front of the group to the last row, which is 33 rows, could easily be 30 seconds. So let's see if the guys in the front of the grid has taken advantage of that.
It's Thomas Gibbons from Automatic Davis, our local hero, he's from Kitmate Courthouse, New Jersey. He's been fighting for that win in Somerville for a long time. Let's see if he can get the car, but tonight he is here to make himself known.
Looks like the field is all together. We have the New Zealand national champion just looking to put some feelers in on the front of the race, and also Thomas Gibbons from Automatic Avis just sitting right there, second wheel, keeping everything under control. The race did just start. It did start with a few raindrops. If you recall from last year, it dumped rain for the men's race, absolutely dumped rain. You just never know with this May, spring weather what you're going to get. And so far, it is looking pretty cloudy, but I don't foresee a big storm like last year. But it could play a small factor into today's race in terms of getting into position here in case it does dump, even just for a little bit.
All right, we've got a move coming up the fencing here. Riders taking a look back, trying to identify what the damage. That's Tucson Palaba for the Martin Ball Arena. Tucson might be riding for a smaller team now than he was a couple of years ago. So he might be finally unrecognized as some of the other riders. He is
We actually have a lot of Texas athletes here. Lucas Burgoyne.
Looks like a small break of 4 here. Just casually rolling off the front of the field. A little bit of hesitation in the peloton. Could be a great time to get a bit of a move off the front. The rain is still falling ever so slightly. It's not quite enough to say that it's really going to fully rain and the roads will get wet, but it's enough to make everyone nervous.
Sunday night.
And it's looking like that there was some more individual riders, not really big team riders, who were in that breakaway. Still really early in the race, still anything can happen, but also, like I said, for the women's race, this course plays really well for a breakaway. Last year, a breakaway stayed away until the final laps where Lucas Burgoyne won, which I have to mention just recently won U.S. National Pro Criterium Championships the other night in Charleston, West Virginia. Looks like we have a Mido Q rider from New Zealand solo off the front with a pretty good gap in the field, and it looks like we have Luke Fetzer in the U23 national champion jersey leading the field. Looks like Luke is really putting the work in for his team and Lucas to make sure that this race may come down to a field sprint, because clearly Lucas has the legs for a very strong field sprint. We have Gabe walking around here on the home straight with his cream bucket, trying to collect cash from the crowd and get some more cash in that cream bucket so we can get this race going, get everybody hyped up, get some action into this race.
Get all filled up with your dollar bills, so don't be shy.
The rain is still coming. It looks like it could be enough to get the roads wet. We'll see. Just a matter of time now. It doesn't look like it's really letting up. So it's a perfect time to try and get ahead of this weather, get ahead of this rain. Everyone probably started with dry tire pressure. So typically in the rain you want to roll a little bit lower tire pressure to give yourself more grip. We still have our guy from New Zealand here off the front solo. We have Josh Chalmers from Automatic Avis trying to control.
He's got 2 current national champions on his team in Burgoyne and Dallas, so he's got a huge obligation to get back and get to the front and lend a hand of support. So good to see that young man get himself all fixed up. Don't forget, we've got that huge screen up in the circle. So if you wander up and hit the merchandise tent, you can still keep your eyes on the race. We've got that broadcast going on up there, so you can see a fair bit of action as it unfolds.
Bill, I got myself a little bit of money here so far. Here we go. Everybody else want to chip into the preens? Oh, I see some money.
There we go. Cash. Oh, man, Gabe, what? Gabe, put that money back, man. That's my rent money right there, man. What are we doing? I said discretionary income. I didn't need my own. My word. Somebody ban that woman down there. Oh, now we've got 3 riders on the move. We've got, it looks like we're going. We've got another rider. Starting number 2 on the mix. I believe that's going to be big rider. But look at what's going on in this field. This field is absolutely getting shredded. Look at all these cats. All these riders already on the wrong side of things here after just 10.5 minutes of racing. I think we gave away almost about $1,800 in free to our pro women. So, hey, crowd, you got a long way to go. That bucket needs to get filled up over there. A couple dollars here, a couple dollars there is how we do it. I don't care if it's singles, if it's a 5, whatever you got in your pocket. Hand it on over to our man Gabe, but we're going to public this game here with the microphone. There we go.
We're doing pretty well here, Bill. Oh, here they come, so what's happening?
Well, we've got a couple of riders still trying to get it done on the front right now. We've got our reigning U.S. national champion in the under 23 division on the front. Out there as well. Colin Fitzgerald in the hometown. Going to that front spot. Definitely trying to get across that next couple. A top 10 finish for you. Year number 1 for that young man. Those one things to breakaway. And this field continuing to feel the pressure right now. The riders are being shown the back door.
All right, it looks like our breakaway has grown from 1 guy to 3 guys. Now we're up to almost 10 guys into this great breakaway, including our national champion, Lucas Burgoyne from Team Cadence. So it's still early in the race, but they're really trying to light this up, trying to make an opportunity here off the front, especially with this rain kind of dropping a little bit. It's a perfect time to get ahead of the race and see if we can get everyone on their toes and start to panic in the field.
Let's see what we can do. Oh, look at that picture.
Looks like we've got Gabe here trying to get some cash. How much cash do we have in the bucket?
So far, I think we've got ourselves, I call that like $300 so far. It's not too bad. For the women's race, we had like, seriously, like $1,500.
That's amazing.
It was a really good night. So.
And did it not light it up?
Dude, you called it. It was insane. Like, I was here like, hey, what's going to happen? You said this, that, it's going to counter a preem. Countered a preem.
There you go.
She knows what she's talking about. Keep listening.
Let's see if we can get enough money going here for the men's race. Still a lot of time. Looks like it's somewhat together, but 2 still rolling off the front. A little hesitation to let them have a bit of space here. It's still so early in this bike race. And the field is just strung out. You can see we got the guys in the back starting to hurt a little bit. And it is a long race, so we'll see if this early move can play a factor into this race overall. But this full sold-out race is already starting to break apart. We've got guys getting pulled, dropping out. It's a difficult course, difficult race. A lot of strong teams here. And yeah, we're barely 15 minutes into this race. We already have riders getting dropped. And again, this course is very difficult, especially when you have 120 guys like this all lined up on a technical course. Now also with a bit of rain falling, making everybody nervous. The chicane here coming through after the start-finish line, you know, it's gonna string out. It's not gonna be, you know, 2, 3, 4 wide. It's gonna string out. You go into a technical chicane with a left and a right turn that's really bumpy. Typically not gonna have a lot of riders stacked up there. And so, technical course, fast course. Looks like the field is all back together now with the New Zealand guys from Mido Q leading the front of the race.
So that we can make sure because these guys are putting themselves on the line to put on a good show. That's why we are trying to get as much money as we can. Here we go. Because these guys are here to not only race their bikes, but here to put on a good show. And they are putting themselves on the line mostly for all of you.
You know what I think, Dave? We've got a lot of dreams up here, so I think it's going to be not too long before we get started and bringing the thousands and the water. We are going to do a 3-minute lap just to kind of let the men know.
You got Gabe here running around with this preem bucket. He's getting a lot of cash in that preem bucket, as you can see. It almost looks full. I think he's doing a great job. It's a beauty that I love about crit racing is getting these crowd preems going. Looks like they're going to throw out their first preem of the evening. $50. We got 2 guys off the front. We have your U23 national champion, Luke Fetzer, off the front with 1 other. Going to put himself in a pretty good position to get $50. So let's see if he'll bring home a little extra cash and also get in the front of this race. Boy, they're already throwing some preems in really early into the race. We're barely 15 minutes into it. We're at 16 minutes or so, and gonna make a really difficult race here for the guys. Also really fun for the crowd to get these preems in. Watch these guys race super aggressively, and the different teams who are here to race and show up for their sponsors. But it just makes for a great time. For the race itself, for us watching here at Easton, and also for you guys watching at home, this is what I love about bike racing.
All right, riders, remember, we rang the bell the last time through. That means the first rider across the lap this time.
So let's see who's going to take home this $50 preem. They have come around the last corner.
Our friends at Alloy 5 Architecture, one of our many partners here.
And it's going to be aggressive racing. It's all back together now. Mido Q is going to take home the $50, and they're going to keep this race going. The race is in one line. It looks like about 20 guys in one line towards the front and kind of a bubble of a peloton. And the rest of these guys back here who are just absolutely suffering. And because of that grid start, some of these guys will never see the start of the race. So think about something like Formula One or even IndyCar where there's a grid start and you have to qualify. Last year's winner gets the first spot. Lucas Burgoyne has the first spot at the front on the line, and it goes back by ranking. So you're ahead of the race automatically, just even before the race even starts. I think it makes a pretty good big difference. And yeah, the guys who start in the back are just going to stay in the back unless you make a really big effort to get to the front of the race.
I'm not beyond that.
Looks like they're really racking up some cash here for these crowd preems. So we'll see when we start calling out more preems, how it's going to change the dynamic of this race. You can see Gabe down there crowdfunding, everyone throwing some cash into the bucket. We have the pace car coming through, so we will see the race come by here shortly. We've got one rider, Matt Botstock from Techers, coming through. Really strong rider. Had spent a good portion of the season last year racing in the U.S. And this race is stringing out. You can see there's a lot of guys hurting in the back of this field. And yeah, a lot of teams just kind of biding their time a little bit. It's a balance between being aggressive really early on and putting on the hurt, and just really kind of biding your time to see later in the race when the legs are not fresh anymore, if you can make a difference in this race. You saw it with the women's field that it definitely changed the dynamic of this race. Putting in a lot of these crowd creams into the race gives a little extra motivation for aggression. Also, the course lends to a really difficult course, lends to a strong rider, technical rider, also strong teams as well.
Look at this, Team Techers still on the move.
It looks like Techers is still off the front.
Daylight right now. So make a little noise for this rider. This is Matt Bostock out of the United Kingdom.
We got Matt Bostock with Daylight really early on in this race. As you can see, the field not too overly concerned about it. We have automatic Avis on the front with Josh Chalmers. But you can see in the shape of this field, it's all bubbled up. Everyone is able to be there. It's not lined out. It's not a struggle. So there's not a lot of speed in this field. The thing with letting one rider off the front versus a strong group of 3, 4, 5, it's easily controllable. And sometimes you kind of want to gamble. When you have a strong rider like Matt Bostock, let him go. He's by himself, and what's he going to do up there? He's just going to burn energy by himself, and at most maybe take a few creams. He is ahead of the race, so he is still technically winning, but it can set you up for a scenario where you can bridge up to him. But this whole time, he's burning energy at the front alone, where you have still a really strong, fresh field in the back, just controlling, just keeping an eye on him. I don't think it's a big worry for the field, as you can tell. So let's see what's going to happen this lap if he's still off the front. It's looking like a solid gap now, almost 10 seconds. We've got a rider from DCC out of Germany bridging across, and another automatic Avis rider. And beyond that, you can see the guys are having to slam on the brakes going in here through center square chicane. Still not a lot of speed in the peloton. Some of the bigger teams here that are well represented, like DCC from Germany and also automatic Avis, have now kind of started to bridge across to Matt Bostock of Techers. So it seems like the biggest, more represented teams here in this race have put themselves in the front. So we'll see if this will ring the alarm bells for teams like Cadence, who are here with both the U23 national champion and the professional national champion. That rings any alarm bells for their teammates to put some riders at the front just to control. It's still really early in the race, still anything can happen, but you don't want it to get out of control. So if we have these big teams well represented, it's hard to say what's going to happen, but you still want to have the option to bring it back if needed. It looks like they do have a gap still. And it sounds like they are ringing the bell for another $75 cream. We've got Matt Bostock still off the front solo. DCC still trying to bridge. Automatic Avis still trying to bridge. And we've got Mito Q on the front of the field heading the chase. Now you can see the field is more in a line. They're picking up their speed. They're going to try and want to bring this break back. The downside to this breakaway right now is that they're all separate. They're all alone. You've got Matt Bostock, who started this break. He's still alone, still not getting any help. You got DCC in the middle. He's not quite to Matt Bostock, and he's not with the automatic Avis rider. So it's what you call shas patat. You're in the middle. You're not really in the break. You're not really in the field. You're burning the same amount of energy as Matt Bostock, but you're not winning the race. So at this point in the race, what do you want to do? Do you want to drop back? Do you want to pick up the automatic Avis rider, work together so that you can get to Matt Bostock? Or do you want to kill yourself, get to Matt Bostock, maybe have to skip a few pulls, or you burn a huge match just trying to get there? It's a tough call to save, but it really depends on the strength of Matt Bostock and the strength of him. And he's obviously still here, shas patat, still in the middle. Our automatic Avis rider has exploded, and we have a little bit of injection from the riders from the field to try and come across. So this race, super aggressive. We're back in one line. You're back to seeing some faces who are hurting, and that's how you know the race has lit up. And so almost at 30 minutes now, I think you're going to start to see some riders fall off the back. We're at that first half-hour point in the race where, you know, if you've just kept burning matches being at the back, it's going to be a race out the back. And with a course like this, if you're at the back, you're probably going to stay at the back unless you put in a huge effort. And now, when the race is hard, it's the worst time to try and move up, because you're going to have to spend double the energy as the people in the front to try and move up. So if you're at the back, when the race lulls and bubbles up, that's when you have to try and move up. But it's also a really dangerous moment to try and move up, because the speed is slow and the field kind of balloons out. And that's where you see crashes and things like that. But here we go. It looks like it is all back together, just like that. When you get enough motivation from the field, it's just going to come back. It's looking like a tough race. It's one line yet again. The speed has kept up in this race, even though that there isn't a breakaway off the front. And if anything, that comes quite naturally with this course. You know, it's not crazy wide. I would say the widest part of this course is down by the river. Kind of comes out to about 3 lanes or so along the river as it curves. But other than that, the course at most is 2 lanes wide, as you can see here, like on the home straight. And as it comes through center square at the first corner, it gets narrow, it gets bumpy, it's really technical, where it's going to be really lined out. You can see Gabe Lloyd still crowdfunding here for some crowd preems, really building up the race. It looks like the race is all back together. Actually, looks like we have a bit of a break here. It's looking like 5 guys. We've got a well-represented break with Cadence, DCC, and Mito Q. So these are the big players in this race who are looking to be represented at the front. Sometimes you need just the right mix. When you have one rider off the front, even if they're from a big team, you can kind of let them go, let them dangle, and they're kind of gonna naturally come back because there's only one. But if you have a breakaway that's well represented, all the big teams, who's left to chase, right? So sometimes you need the right mix of riders at the front of the race to really get that gap and continue to go off the front. And that's what these attacks are all about. You just keep attacking these teams, keep attacking, trying to get the right mix of riders to go off the front where everyone is happy. We have everyone represented in there. We can let them ride. Here the guys come around the last corner. We'll see if they've stuck it. Looks like the race is all back together. You can see there are 4, 5, 6 riders wide. Speed is out of the group. And it just wasn't the right mix, wasn't the right motivation. Not only do you need the right mix of riders, but everyone, in theory, should ride, or for the most part should ride. You get that one rider who sits on, it opens the door for the second rider to sit on, and so on and so forth. And you know, why continue riding at the front if you've got riders sitting on this early in the race as well? So we're hitting that 30-minute mark. Obviously no lap counter going yet, but I think once we start throwing out more preems, bigger preems, and the riders are going to start seeing opportunities to get off the front, I think we're going to see a little more action, a little more aggression, try and see if that's how this race is going to get played. Looks like they're all together coming out of the last corner. A little bit of a reset in the race. See who's going to take control. You're going to see who's going to continue to want to be aggressive. Looks like we have DCC and Mito Q off the front.
Right there we have Andres Mayer from the relatively quiet so far, but they're starting to come to the fore just a little bit.
So it seems like teams like Mito Q and DCC really want to have a break off the front. They want to play their card. They don't want to wait for a field sprint. It's a course that lends to a breakaway, so you want to continue to play that. Otherwise, you're just sitting around riding in Easton, right? Like, you also want to race. You want to play some different cards, especially if you don't have maybe the strongest sprinter in the field. But certainly, anything can happen in a bike race, so you have to try and play your cards correctly and maybe spread your eggs, not put them all in just one basket. So it seems like these guys from New Zealand of Mito Q and also from Germany of DCC racing a little bit more aggressively. It's also kind of just their style as well to race more aggressively. Looking like there is still a separation. It actually looks like quite a bigger group now. We've got our U23 national champion and now multiples of DCC and Techers moving in to the break. So a negative thing about this break, getting a little bit too big, is there's gonna be a lot of riders that sit on, not everyone's gonna ride. So what that's gonna do is naturally bring this break back to the peloton, because there's just too many people in it. It's a little bit overrepresented. And then it puts the responsibility of the teams that have more riders in this breakaway to ride. And depending on how many people sit on, it's really just not going to be conducive for the energy that you're putting out. Now the race has reset. We've got our New Zealand national champion putting in a good dig. along with one other with him. But the speed is still in this race. You can see on the faces of the guys in the back, like this race is getting hard. They're still riding, and obviously with these brakes off the front, or these moves off the front, keeping the speed high and continuing to push some pace into this race. The raindrops did stop falling, so that's I think will not really be a factor, but it did make everyone nervous really early on in this race. As you could see, there were more brakes that were sticking off the front when it was raining, but now the sun's coming out a little bit. It looks like the wind is a little bit more of a crosswind, but with these downtown circuits, you probably won't feel it as much. It kind of has this swirl effect on the home straight, especially with these barriers. But the wind is going in this direction, looking at the flags, and with a slightly uphill finish, it makes for a really hard home straight. We have the race coming by here yet again, and it's looking like there's now going to be a break of 4. We're going to have your German national champion from DCC, Techers rider from the UK, and also your New Zealand national champion. Pretty well represented break there. It's a great number of 4. You know, it's the size of break that you'd be okay going off the front. It's somewhat controllable, but there is still that chance. If it's a great mix of riders and they're committed to work together, can still go pretty far. And then it's still missing some teams, so everyone in the field can put some pressure on those teams who are missing to kind of take responsibility to maybe chase or control them. So it could be a good mix to kind of stay off the front of the race for a little while with some of the bigger, more represented teams at this race in that breakaway. Looks like we have our lap counter on the board. We've got 25 laps to go. About 36 minutes of racing has gone by, and this race should go by pretty quick. It's obviously got a lot of speed in these laps. We have the pace car coming through, so we should see these guys shortly. 25 laps to go, and now we have Ollie Wood of the UK with a track background, and still that group of 4 or 5 off the front with a bit of space on the peloton.
Yeah, so Hollywood of Texas. It's going to be Ben Oliver of New Zealand.
And the New Zealand national champ is Ben Oliver and Juan Zapata from the bikers team. So pretty well represented break. I think could look promising. They haven't rung anything for preems yet, so I think this race will only get more and more exciting as it goes on. I think you'll see that the break isn't quite getting a lot of time, so it's somewhat controlled. There isn't much panic in the group. And team cadence, maybe just kind of biding their time, seeing if another team will kind of step in and do a bit of the work for them. There's still a lot of time, still 24 laps to go. Looks like they are still off the front with a bit of a break.
Intent to let this one go. One rider coming straight up the middle of the road, and he's coming with a big head of steam, riding for the big.
That's a great looking break. 5 guys. We have another guy bridging up, and the field looking somewhat content with this makeup. Yeah, we have Ollie Wood there in the breakaway of Techers. He is from the UK. He's got a bit of a track background, quick legs. I think he's in the Team Pursuit program of the UK. Coming over here and and racing U.S. criteriums. I think it's great to see a lot of these international teams taking their style of racing here to the U.S. Obviously adds a great dynamic in this race. I mean, I think more than half of this breakaway is not from the U.S., so you can clearly see that their aggressive racing character coming out into this race and really putting themselves on the map here at Easton Criterium. Maybe a little upset to our national champions. We'll see. I think Lucas is really elated to win nationals, but once you put your hands in the air, you're going to want to win again. So I'm sure he's really motivated to do well tonight. They're ringing the bell for a $200 preem. The break has now grown to 6 riders, and now we see Team Cadence putting a rider on their front. You got the national champions sitting about halfway, a little bit towards the back of this peloton. It sounds like it looks like they're maybe taking the gamble on it coming back. And sometimes, as a favorite, if you sit a little bit too far forward in the peloton, you're showing that you're taking responsibility. So if you drop back a little bit, you say, you know what? I don't really care. We're going to leave it up to my teammates to try and control. It kind of shows that you're taking the pressure off yourself, which can work in 2 ways. But you can see the 2 national champions, the U23 national champion and the professional national champion of Team Cadence, having a little chat towards the back of the peloton, thinking, all right, what do we want to do? Do we have the guys in the front try and bring it back? Or do we want to try and bridge across? Or gamble and go hands off and say, hey, we're going to leave it up to another team who's missed a break to try and bring it back.
We're doing some math up here. It's been good. Here we are. Oh, we made it happen. Here we go.
Here we go. $200 on the line. Looks like Ollie Wood taking the $200 and a huge gap. It looks like he's kind of blown apart this breakaway. And a little bit of a lull here in the peloton. They are in one line. There was a big injection of speed in the peloton, but now you see Automatic Avis sticking their nose in the front of this race saying, okay, we want to be in there. We missed the break, but we want to be in this race. So you see Josh Chalmers there of Automatic Avis putting an effort in to try and get this race back together, maybe try to bridge across, maybe bring it together for their sprinter. With a race like today, a lot can happen. I know there has been a lot of criteriums going on lately. Last night was Winston-Salem. National Championships was earlier this week on Friday. So there has been a lot of racing lately. So I feel like you're not going to see the freshest legs today for some riders. I do believe that our national champions were racing Winston-Salem last night. So maybe they're even feeling a little bit tired. So it could be that that's what's happening. And also, I think a lot of these international riders obviously have fresher legs. And then some of our Americans who were at nationals maybe are a little bit tired. It's been a lot of traveling, racing nationals, and just like that, you can see our national champions go from the last third of the field all the way up. Now they're back in the top 10. So I think that shows that at one point in this field, in this race, it had slowed down, it had bubbled up, and they had the chance to move up. And riders like that, I think they're really savvy. You know, national champion for the Criterium, they're going to be savvy riders. They're not just going to come out of the field and throw out a bunch of energy just to move up into top 10. So I do think the field kind of slowed down a little bit, and they found a really good moment to move up efficiently and get into the position. That break is still I would say really dangerous, well represented, and so they're keeping an eye on things and trying to find a moment to maybe bridge across or maybe even close it.
$2 from somebody, $5 from somebody, $20.
We're coming into 20 laps to go, and we have the breakaway coming through here on the start-finish line. Still have a great gap for these guys. I think it's really looking like some drama here in the breakaway. Not everyone is pulling through. We've got Lucas Burgoyne, our national champion. This is his moment. He thinks to bridge across, putting a big dig across the start-finish line to try and bridge across. And maybe he saw that. You know, we have a really nice long home straight. You can really see far ahead. Maybe they saw that, hey, they're not really working all that well together in the front. Ollie Wood is skipping turns in the front. Maybe he doesn't like the mix of that breakaway. And so that opens the door for a good time to bridge across. So maybe Lucas saw that. He's trying to bridge across when there's a bit of disruption in the breakaway, where they kind of slow down or have a little bit of hesitation. And then now he and his team can be represented in this break. Also a great moment for him to kind of test the legs, see how he's feeling today. And he's obviously driven from Charleston, West Virginia to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, now up here to Easton, Pennsylvania. It's a lot of time in the car. Also, on top of that, racing. And I'm sure he had a little bit of fun after he won nationals on Friday in West Virginia. So looks like we got some counters in the breakaway. We've got the biker cycling team and our New Zealand national champ going off the front with a bit of an unknown going here in the middle, and then now also the peloton coming through. So sometimes what you want to do with these breakaways who they're not really being cohesive, you have some riders sitting on, it opens the door for some counters. So obviously you saw the biker team and also the Mito Q team just taking advantage of that. They're not going to mess around with that stuff. And a way for you to weed out those people who aren't riding is just to attack the break. So it's clearly something happened, whether it was a hesitation or they attacked the break and they just kind of reset that front of the race. Now there's only 2 guys off the front, but it's clear that they're the 2 committed guys of the break who will continue to ride in this race. 18 laps to go. These laps are going by super fast. I don't think there's much to save at this point. 18 laps to go, and more preems are going to be coming out as well. I think it's a perfect time to stay off the front of the race here and leave the responsibility in the back of the race to try and bring it back together. Huge reshuffle here. We got DCC, 2 Mito Q guys, and they look like they're pretty determined to keep this move going off the front. So now we have 2 Mito Q guys off the front with a DCC rider. Bit of a mix-up. It's different faces that have been on the front now.
Thank you guys so much for contributing.
They still have to ring the bells for these crowd preems, so there's going to be more action coming in this race. There's obviously a fresh set of legs in the front of this race for this breakaway.
Sally, you ready?
Looks like they've rounded the last corner and they still have a pretty good gap. And it looks like some guys trying to bridge across to that front group of 3. Here we go. We're ringing the bell for $100. DCC is a little outnumbered here with 2 guys, but he has another teammate coming up here and another Mito Q guy coming up. across.
Winner of the next lap, $100 free.
The German team and the New Zealand team really putting the pressure on in this race. They want an aggressive race. They want to try and go get these preems. And they're now starting to play the numbers game. And what this is going to do is put the pressure on the other teams who aren't represented to try and take control of the peloton, try to bring the race back, or try to bridge across. So, really interesting makeup now. There's two Mito Q guys in the front, one DCC guy with another DCC kind of bridging across. So we'll see in this next lap what has changed and what the makeup of the front of the breakaway is. It's looking like there's two Mito Q boys rounding the last corner. And they're not going to sprint for this sprint. It's going to be... Looks like they jokingly maybe sprinted each other, but they're obviously from the same team. So the money's going to go to the same pot. There's two guys kind of trying to come across, and it's looking pretty slow in the field. They're all together now. You've got a hand up from a guy at DCC. I think they need some help. And now we have two Mito Q guys off the front. You've got two guys from the same team. One's a national champion. And that's a situation you don't want to leave yourself in with two guys from the same team off the front. You know they're going to work together. You know they're going to commit to this breakaway. Could potentially be a dangerous move. So now we'll have to see what happens in the peloton. Who's going to take the responsibility now? Who says this is a red flag, got the alarm bells ringing, and put their nose in the wind to try and bring them back or bridge across?
Trying to do it again. They're still off the front. We still got Arango, the Colombian Olympian desperately trying to get across Easton. Yes, the little noise here.
Yes, Juan Arango makes it happen. He is going to get there. And look at this. Now the field knows they need to
Looks like Juan Arango has bridged across to the two Mito Q guys. He's been having a really strong season, so he must know this is a move that could stick. So we've got two Mito Q guys off the front and Juan Arango off the front with them. Now what's the play? You have two guys from the same team, Ben Oliver, who is the national champion of New Zealand, and also Juan Arango now bridging up to the front group. You know, now how do they play? They have two favorites in the one team with two teammates. I mean, it's an opportunity to get in the front of the race, stay in the front of the race. 15 laps to go. The laps are going quite quick. And if anything, it puts pressure on the field to chase. You know, who's missing? DCC's missing. You saw the German national champion put his hand up. Usually that's a sign like, hey, I need help. Hopefully your teammates saw you put your hand up. It means you either have a flat or you need help. It's a sign. And so now it looks like these three guys are working really well together, pull for pull. Juan Arango taking a drink. Pretty solid gap. They almost have a full straight away. And now we have two DCC guys trying to bridge across with three others.
Western end of the Lehigh Valley, Michigan, in this town 3 year top 5 year. Before we know that this is another very dangerous move right now. So I don't know, Mito Q looks like they came here all guns blazing tonight.
We got ourselves another $100 crowd premium. You guys are doing awesome so far. So we're going to do a $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap. $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap. $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap. $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap. $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap. $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap. $100 crowd premium for the winner of the next lap.
I'll tell you what, the team on the back foot right now is team-hated. They've got Richard Holden on the front of the field, moving him forward. Know that he's all season long, and when she's on there now, doing all the dirty work to keep things together and keep Lucas Burgoyne and Luke Spencer in the mix. The team, I don't know if you caught it, but Lucas Burgoyne clearly getting a little nervous. Burgoyne going up the inside as they went to the turn number 1 into the circle. The alarm bells are going off right now with good reason.
This is make or break moments for these guys. If these guys do not get this back within the next 4 or 5 laps, 4 or 5, so they're gonna have 4 or 5 laps, they may not get it. They're gonna run out of real estate. So what's our gap right now? 12-ish seconds, so they need to be bringing back 2-3 seconds per lap. They're not doing it. These guys are extending it. We're looking at $100 for first across the line. The Jim gets it on that top.
Well, I'll tell you what that tells me. Juan Arango not contesting that sprint. He knows he's outnumbered. He's got to be careful up there. So he's thinking long-term, big picture right now.
Yeah, there's our test. We need to figure that one out.
Holek on the front of that chase room. Lucas Burgoyne on the back. So a big moment for that chase room. Team Kate has responded. They are now on the move again.
Yeah, and Burgoyne was awesome. He shot not only good legs, he's got a lot of confidence. And confidence can carry it just that much faster to the finish line when it comes down to it. Just winning that national championship, what, 2 nights ago?
Yeah, 2 nights ago in Charleston, West Virginia. And I believe they raced last night in Winston-Salem as well. So a lot of racing in a condensed period of time with a whole lot of car time, windshield time in between. So I tell you what, if that breakaway, if those 3 riders off the front, if they know that Lucas Burgoyne is coming across, he's the defending champion here in Easton. He just won that elite national sprint title. Probably the fastest guy in the race. I'll go ahead and say it, I don't mind it. If they know he's coming across, they better get a little nervous and start to rethink their play.
We just had a very good lead out last year, though, so if I want to go checking that move, here's your leader, Benno, Jim, and Juan. We're now looking at 12 seconds to the chase, and then probably another 8 to 10 behind. So this group about 10 to 12 seconds off the lead with the national champion on the back end of it. And then here we go. For 113 for Verrazano. Looks like the pace is increasing because some of the riders that were closer to the back are now off the back.
Well, yeah, like we said, the alarm bell's really going off in the front. That straight breeze is dangerous in and of itself. Because a huge chase group represents a whole lot of the top 10 layout. So a lot of riders still in the field are getting nervous. So that pace is very high. But we know we've got 2 DCC riders in that chasing group as well. So 2 DCC riders, 2 riders from Team Hayden. So they are no doubt doing the bulk of the work right now, trying to reel in our 2 Mito 2 New Zealand Cycling Project riders and the Bikers Cycling Team, Mr. Juan Arango.
This gap just blew out. This gap is now opened up. These boys committed. They just opened that up. They added 5 seconds to that on that last lap alone. So these boys are collaborating. These guys might think they are, but they are losing time. They need to collaborate better. They all need to work together. Nobody can be a passenger.
every time through here. It's Oleg on the front. Absolutely digging deep right now. Dan Uranowski from Visit Pittsburgh trying to get involved. And now the automatic spot finally starting to show them. Farmers now representing for them.
Johnson's a really good super junior who is now back into the mix. Looks like maybe having an issue with his rear wheel. So they're now out of contention. So we are seeing that it can go. These boys come through now, looking at 9 to go for your leader. That's right there. Here's your chase group. So what we're going to do, we're going to incentivize these guys to maybe work it out and get themselves to the finish line. We're going to do a $100 free just for the chase group. $100 free just for the chase group. You're the chase group. You are the chase group. $100 for you.
Oh, look at this. Andrew Walker, Doylestown Bike Works trying to continue going up the inside there with a play. And Steve Warren, New Englander, that can make beats from the Noble Nordic Healing squad. Making a big move.
All right, folks, we're under 10 laps to go. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of this race. How is it going to play out? Still got that break off the front, and sounds like they rang the bell for a preem for the chase group, not the front of the break.
James Gardner, Big Jim.
The break at 3 is still off the front.
His teammate Ben Oliver in the white ski suit as the reigning national champion from New Zealand. And then
We'll see if this break at 3 will stick it out to the end of the race. I think they have a pretty good shot. We've got 8 laps to go. Not a lot of motivation coming in from behind, but maybe with this preem, it's enough motivation to bring them back. Looks like these 3 have been working really seamlessly together, even if they have 2 guys from MitoQ and 1 guy from the
We're
Bikers.
looking for it. He's out of the saddle. Is Olivier going to take it? Looks like Olivier is going to take that preem for Olivier Leroy.
Looks like Olivier from DCC taking that $100 preem with 5 guys with him in the chase. With some pretty good daylight to the peloton. I think with these many laps to go, could be pretty promising that the break of 3 and also that group of 6 behind might stick it out to the end. Whether they come together or not really depends on where that motivation is, maybe where they ring the bell for these preem sprints, whether it's for the front breakaway or for the chase group. But this race is going to go by quick. They just saw 8 laps to go. It's will be interesting to see what happens with a front group of 3. At what point does Juan Arango say, you know what, I'm going to stop working with you guys because you guys have 2 guys. Will it bring that group of 6 across to them? And then what is the field going to do now? Which teams had missed the move?
Big Jim Gardner 7.
3 guys still working strong together.
They are now to turn number 1.
Also looks like there was a pretty good-sized crash. There are some guys who are going to be coming out of the pit here shortly. So it may throw a little bit of a wrench into this race. But here you have 4, almost 5 guys in the chase and quite a lot of time to the peloton.
Field, stay to the right, stay to the right. Field, stay to the
Field's
right.
coming through somewhat slow, and they are throwing in a bunch of guys back into the field. Not looking like there's a lot of motivation or speed coming from this peloton. some guys still over by the pit trying to fix their bike, trying to get back into this race. And then you've already seen now the front of the group. So the laps are going fast. We have the pace car coming. We have the three guys who are leading the race coming through. And no one is hesitating here. These three guys are just putting the power down on the pedals. And there is a strong chase of 5, but I'm really thinking these three are going to stay out the front. This gap is huge. Unless something changes in the front, I don't think they're going to get brought back. You can see here Lucas Burgoyne is really motivated. There's 2 DCC riders and another rider from Biker's team. So I think that group of 3 is going to stick. Obviously, all 3 are going to go on the podium, so no matter what happens to that group of 3, if somebody sits on, someone within those 3 are going to win. They are ringing $100 for the field, so maybe this puts a little pace into the field, who they're looking not super motivated at the moment to try and bring them back. I think all the big teams are now really well represented in this race. And so we're seeing 5 laps to go. We have the front break of 3 coming through. Looks like Jim Gardner just taking a drink of water. We're going into the last part of the race here. Juan Arango going pull for pull for these Mito Q guys. The chase is really trying. Lucas Burgoyne just kind of gapping off Total Rider here, the 2 DCC guys. We should be seeing the field come through for $100, but I mean, there is daylight to the field. I think for the field, the race is gone. I think your top 8 places have been sold, and now they're just out to get some extra cash. So someone from Foundation, Alberto Ramos, picking up some pre-money. I think at this point in the race, that's what you're going to get out of the field right now. So unless they're ringing the crowd preem bell for the field, there's not going to be a lot of action left. You don't see a lot of that motivation from the field coming to chase the breakdown. Here's the lead of the race right away. The lap is short and quick. These 3 are going pull for pull. No one's hesitating. I think they're going to make it to the line, no doubt. And it looks like there's a little bit of hesitation here with the chase group. They have 1 teammate off the front, so there's 1 guy in this group of 5 who is not riding because he doesn't have to. He's got a teammate off the guy. But yeah, Lucas Burgoyne really trying to get across. He's really putting some effort down, but I think the legs are just too strong in the front. There's just too much power in that front group of 3 to make much of a difference. But I think what might end up happening is maybe the front group of 3 laps the field. Hard to say what's going to happen here. 4 laps to go. 3 Techers guys on the front of the field. That's a team from the UK. But I think they missed that boat. I think that was a little mistake or mistiming, miscalculation on their part to miss that break. But the field has blown apart. We have lapped riders, but also the front group of 3 is coming up. So quite a mix-up in the field here. Some guys should be getting pulled, but the front group of 3 are looking like they're getting close to lapping the back of the field. which could play a role in the finish for these top three. It makes it really hard, makes it really confusing. Who are you really sprinting for? So it could be something that could play to Juan Arango's advantage. I think he is the stronger sprinter of the three, but if you add that element of chaos, maybe he can get through there, have his teammates help him out, do a lead out. Since he's obviously with two guys from Mito Q, Mito Q obviously has an upper hand in this situation with two guys in the breakaway, and so it could be a good situation for Juan Arango.
So 30 seconds, 3 laps to go. Chris Pollard on the front right now.
This race has blown apart. There are guys and bodies all over the place. These are some dropped riders coming through, now the car, and then our front group of three. Not these three, these three. With some two lapped riders kind of hanging on, which shouldn't really be there. But absolute chaos here at the men's race. We have the front three. We know who those three are. And here comes the chase group with our professional national champion, Lucas Burgoyne, and two DDC guys. It's looking like they have let up a little bit. I think they've realized at this point, with 2 laps to go, they're not going to catch the front three. So now they have to start racing for fourth. Out of this group, how are we going to race for fourth? They have a huge gap on the peloton. Yes, Techers is chasing. Do they have enough time to kind of play the game? And is it worth the time to play the game?
Riders, please get out of the way. Riders, you are done. Lap riders off the course. We are going to be coming into the bell lap. Hey, Easton, you guys have cowbells, right? You guys have hands, you guys have voices. We are going to make some noise. It is now 1 lap to go. Your leaders.
All right, here comes the pace car. 1 lap to go. These are your 3 leaders here. 2 guys from Mito Q and Juan Arango of the bikers team. I think it would be a big shame if one of the guys of Mito Q don't win this race. Juan Arango from the bikers cycling team obviously has had a great season this year. And here is a chase group starting to play some games. I think they know that they're racing for fourth. They have some time to waste with the gap that they have to the peloton, but they're not racing for the podium anymore. They're just racing for money and the results. Here comes the lead car out of the final corner. This is it for the win. Looks like Jim is leading out his teammate Ben O'Connell. Looks like it's going to be Ben O'Connell, the New Zealand national champion, getting the lead out from his teammate Ben Oliver, or your New Zealand national champ, taking the win at Easton Criterium. Beautiful ride by the Mito Q team, playing the numbers in the break, going up against one of the stronger riders in the field, Juan Arango. And let's see who will get the sprint for fourth place. It's going to be close, but it's looking like Lucas Burgoyne taking the sprint for fourth place. What a race. This has absolutely blown apart. The rest of the guys coming through of what's left of this race. For such a difficult course, you can really see how it played to a breakaway. It played to a team tactics, especially from Mido Q, who had 2 guys in the front break of 3. It was smart racing by a bikers team to send their strongest rider up the front. They know that these are 2 really strong guys who would stick it to the end. I think the guys who really missed out in this race is DCC and Caden's team. I think for the Americans, there has been a lot of racing lately. I think you can see the legs are a little bit tired. And obviously the Mido Q guys capitalized on that. They had 2 in the breakaway, pulled off the win. I'm really glad that they did because they had the numbers to be there. They had the guy to help lead out his teammate. I wonder if there might be a little bit of controversy with a lapped teammate coming in. I don't know whether if he helped in that breakaway or not. I don't know how that's going to play out. He did stick onto the back of that breakaway, so we'll see what happens there. But big congratulations to Ben Oliver and the Mido Q team. Great racing by Juan Arango.
Big thanks to Corinne for coming out and hanging out with us here.
Thank you, Gabe.
Thanks to all of you guys hanging out and making tonight possible. We really appreciate it. We're going to get our race winners and everybody else.
We're rolling out the boxes for the podium. We have Gabe Lloyd and Bill Ellison on the mic here live at Easton. And I'm Corinne Lebecki, reporting live on the YouTube broadcast for Easton Criterium. Thanks for joining us. We're going to send it over to Gabe and Bill to do the podium presentation. It's been a great day of racing. Both men's and the women's races have been really exciting. Definitely played to a breakaway. Fun course here at Easton. Great weather, turns out. We had a little bit of nervousness with some raindrops, but all is well here. The race continued. We had great racing, great preems, great action in this race. So I hope you enjoyed watching at home. Stay tuned for this podium, and we'll see you next year.
easy one for today, and we know you're the level of the race of the season.
Very good. James Gardner, ladies and gentlemen, from New Zealand, third year to that. Congratulations. All right, you guys will make that way to the right to our podium presentation. So we can get the after party. In third place, the photography, are we ready? We're good. People, are we ready? All right. In third place here today, for representing Vital Fuse and Tech Cycling Friday, please welcome James Gardner.
Fire truck down there.
In second place today, Arkham County and racing with us representing the Biker Cycling Team is Ron Afonso! And taking a win here today in the New Zealand National Champions kit, also representing Mito Q and Zen Cycling Project, please welcome Ben Oliver! Thank you again, winners. Your arms up, gentlemen. You won yourself a bike race today. This is your 2025 Easton Criterium presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network Audience. Just by the round of top step, one around the race and James Gardner in third. We'll have one more photo with that winner's jersey, and then we'll pop the bubbly one last time here on the podium here tonight. Big thanks to all of you who came out and we're doing this. A special thank you to all of our sponsors who made today possible. Larry and Jimmy who bring all of this to life. Now, arms up, gentlemen, you're everybody one more time.
Bill, you want popcorn to take home?
No, thank you. I'm good.
James Gardner, all of the top staff. These boys putting on a show. From all around the world, right here in Easton, Pennsylvania. Congratulations, gentlemen. You guys are all right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And here we go, one last time. There we go. It's pretty good with this one. Ben Oliver, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it. My name is Ben Cole, and I was joined by Bill Ellis. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. And we will see you next year right here for our next edition of the Easton